Hey guys, so I want to clear up a little bit of confusion around the subject of Qigong, and it's a technical thing really on the differences between certain types of exercises and this concept of building Qi, like to increase the amount of it. There's lots of different schools of thought, and obviously many different schools of Qigong, even many different definitions of what Qi is, right? But the definition I'd be working to with Qi is this actual form of energy, this energetic substance that is built up inside the body. So I'm referring to it from this point of view. I'm not referring to the breath. So sometimes when people say Qi is just the breath, like it's just air, I think that's actually probably true for total beginners. Like when you're absolutely totally new and you've never done anything, or you've never gone very deep, I suppose, then your Qi will be your breath, I suppose, because the only more subtle part of your being that you ever will encounter through your practice will be your breath. But then, as you go further into the art, of course, you should realize, you should start to know, I mean, your practice should lead you to direct knowledge of the fact that Qi is actually something else, that when they're referring to Qi in these Qigong texts or teachings or within alchemical texts, that they're not referring to the breath, they're referring to something else, something that can be built up within your body so that your body can be charged up, essentially like just recharging a battery, if you like. All the discussions of the Dantian and everything and things I spend a lot of my time teaching technically how it works are about sort of building up this energy, this substance within your body. Now, one of the advantages of having this extra substance, more Qi, is that it changes the depth at which your body can be connected with. And this is something that I think is often missed, and I think it's where some of the confusion may be coming from with regards to Qigong exercises. Because if you have a very small amount of Qi, say we quantify it somehow, and you have a very small amount, basically you just have what we might say is enough Qi for your body to function. So, and of course there's variations in amount. It might be a healthy amount of Qi, or it might be a lack of Qi, something we would call having a Qi deficiency or something like this, in Chinese medical talk. So then this amount of Qi that you have, this energy is enough to make sure your cells function and your tissues function and all of those kind of things, and you have life. And for some people, I think that their practice takes them to that level, but it is possible to go beyond that, because if I can build the amount of Qi to a higher level, what happens is it starts to sort of thicken and become more dense. And as it becomes more dense, it becomes more real to you, shall we say, on the level of your perception, so that you can feel it more and it will interact with your body more, or you can interact with it more. It can be controlled and you can control it, or it can change things inside your body. Like to get to that stage where the Qi is tangible means you need to build more of it until it starts to thicken. Now, when I get to more Qi, what it means is I will change my body on a deeper level, right? So think of it like this. A thin amount of Qi means that when I move my body, or a small amount of Qi, and I move my body will be affected on the level of what? Nerves and lymph, probably, blood flow, circulation, all the things that whenever they do a randomized control study or whatever on Qigong, that they find out it's good for this, it's good for your cardiovascular system, blah, 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 whatever. If I then build that Qi thicker again, it will affect the body on a deeper level. So I've built more Qi now, so that now when I practice, it actually pulls and stretches and drags the white tissue, fascia, connective tissue through the inside of the body in a way that it didn't do before. And this is at least what I would say entry level into kind of the internal body, is getting to the stage where you have enough Qi and it's thick enough that it starts to pull and stretch and change the shape of the fibers and the tissues on the inside. It will start to connect you up like some kind of sort of organic wetsuit that goes all the way down to the level of your bone. This must be done, okay? This to me is like the entry level to Qigong, really. Then what happens is, as I continue to thicken it, it will affect the body on deeper levels. So it will start to affect the body on a deeper level, a sort of cellular level. Then as I thicken it up more, it will affect the body on a deeper level, meaning it will go to the subtle channels and all of the esoteric stuff that is discussed within, not just Qigong texts, but yogic texts and all of these things. I mean, you could gradiate the body into all these layers, and sometimes people miss that the level of contact you have with the inside of your body, or how deep your contact goes, will depend on how much Qi you have. That's kind of the bottom line. So if I don't have much qi, you will connect with the breath and the nerves and the skin. If you have more qi, you will connect on a deeper level, and so on and so on and so on, until you get right down to things like the Chong Mai, the thrusting channel, and deeper parts of your being. Eventually that qi will bridge across into very, very subtle levels of mind. So that really, like, this is where I think the confusion comes in, because I mean, already if I've lost you on that model, if you're someone that believes that everything is just very materialistic and it's just the breath and it's just the nerves, then this isn't going to make much sense anyway. But if you have followed me to this point in this ramble, then this kind of really is where the moving Qigong exercises come into play. Because if you go onto YouTube or you go to your local Qigong class or something like this, what you will encounter is a vast spectrum of moving Qigong exercises, hundreds of them, and there's medical exercises, there's relaxation exercises, there's whatever, there's loads, you know, and some of them will move the arms up and down, and some will go left and right, and some will use mudras, and all these different things, and most of the Qigong you see is this. Now, within Qigong terminology, that I would consider those to be, for the majority of cases, those are what I call regulatory exercise, as in they regulate or they harmonize what is there within your body. Okay, there are exceptions, of course, but the vast majority of them are that. They're regulatory exercises. So then, other types of exercises would be things that clear out, purging, which Dao Yins are more like that, or exercises that build up, tonify, nourish the qi within the body. But that's not what most moving exercises are. Most moving exercises are regulatory. And even though I see people saying that that's not the case, it is. In the majority of cases, it is. So what this means is doing the moving exercises in Qigong, opening, closing, up and down, or you've got a wonderful set, maybe you do the 5 animal frolics, maybe you do the, whatever, I don't know, Baduan Jin, all these different things you know. They don't build qi. They just don't. What they do is they regulate the qi that is already there. So what this means is if you have a thin qi or a small amount of qi in your body, what I would consider sort of normal functioning levels, when I do these moving exercises, they will regulate your body on a normal level, meaning that they can be good for relaxation, they can take you out of fight or flight, they can increase your lung capacity, they can increase circulation and lymph flow, like all of those things, that's what they'll do. So awesome, like super good for your body, but they won't go deeper than that, they just won't. So in order to go to the deeper level, I have to build more qi, so that qi becomes thicker and more dense. Then when I do that regulating exercise again, it affects me on a deeper level. More qi means you go deeper. So now all of a sudden, those same exercises you learnt can create all the mobilization of the inside of the body. Okay, now it is going deeper. Then I build more qi again. Now it affects my body on deeper, more profound levels, through to cellular, through to deep energetic, through to the subtle channels, through to all of the things that you read about within texts or whatever, or that people hear, and then they don't know that Qigong can do these things. The reality is that human beings exist on so many different stratifications, including a subtle level that is formed of a vast network of bizarre channels full of radiant energy, you know, and it's possible for the Qigong to touch that stage, even those moving exercises, but only if there's enough qi in the system. So what I'm trying to say is the moving exercises themselves don't build that qi. It's the same with Tai Chi. I know qi in Tai Chi is not the same as qi in Qigong, okay, but qi is still a factor in it. So if you take a system of Tai Chi, and you're doing Tai Chi and you don't build more qi within the system, what will happen is when you go through the form, it'll just affect you on a physical level. That's what it'll do. And that's what's happened to a lot of traditions. If they take out the part of the Tai Chi training that actually built qi within the system, is that when they do the Tai Chi, which is ultimately, as much as anything, from its classification as more of a regulatory exercise than anything else, Tai Chi is, it will just regulate what is there. So if you do Tai Chi and you have nothing that builds energy within the body, then what happens is when I do the form, it will regulate me physically, meaning it will regulate my breathing, it will regulate my alignments, it will make me move smoothly, make me move efficiently, perhaps all of those things, which are great. But it won't actually do anything on a deeper level, nothing that I would consider internal. It won't pull and shape and stretch all of the silk threads that they call them through the body. It won't activate the jins or any of these kind of things aside, because you don't have enough qi. So all the time when I'm doing the form, you are regulating yourself on a normal level. But if I have a practice that builds Qi, then I'll regulate myself on a deeper level. If I have a practice that builds more Qi again, I'll regulate myself on a deeper level. So the more Qi you have, the more you will bridge towards the deeper and deeper levels. All Qigong practitioners and Tai Chi practitioners knew this at some stage, I believe. I'm sure there was probably the occasional villager who didn't, but the vast majority of them did. So therefore they incorporated into their practices, into their training, into their syllabuses, static work. And that's really where the Qi building comes in. Because if I am moving my body, what happens is the body will start to mobilize and regulate that Qi, but it won't build it. Whereas when I am static, the Qi can build. So static standing practices can build energy if you know the process involved in doing it. Just simply standing won't do it. But if you know how to use your quality of your mind and the principles within your body correctly, then standing practice can build Qi. And seated practice can build Qi. Everything from meditation through to seated, static Qigong work. That is where the building of your Qi comes in. So I would say that an authentic practitioner should always have a percentage of static work within their training that is helping them to build this substance that takes them to deeper and deeper levels, and then their moving work is what then mobilizes or regulates that Qi that they've built so that they go deeper and deeper into their training. And the amount of static work you do should change depending on what you're after. I mean, if I'm at a stage where I'm like, okay, I've plateaued, I need more Qi, then I need more static work. If I'm at a stage where I'm built enough and I need to regulate the body, I'll do more moving work. And that's how my training goes, because I'm trying to transform myself. So therefore I'm using the tools I have, the regulating moving exercises or the static Qi building exercises, and switching between them as is the best rhythm for me to convert my body to take me deeper and deeper and deeper into the process. This is how it all works. Now there are Qigong exercises that are an exception to that. There are some moving ones that build Qi, that's true, but they're not so common. Mostly, the vast majority of cases, Qi building is done statically, because when I stay still and I stabilize my mind and I take away the bodily functions for a little while, as much as I possibly can, and then I increasingly move towards a state that you might equate with something called emptiness, then what happens is the body starts to produce Qi, especially if this is combined with some particular breathing mechanics or things that I do with the muscles of my body. More energy can start to be produced. The energy on its own then will need regulating, which is why you must have the moving exercises as well. You must have something that mobilizes and balances it and harmonizes it. So you must have your Tai Chi form if you're a Tai Chi practitioner, or you must have your moving Qigong exercises if you're a Qigong practitioner, but you must have both. I've seen people that only do static work, and sometimes they manage to build the Qi, but often it just becomes stagnant. And what happens is if you just build, because you're not regulating, when you build the Qi, all you do is you reinforce whatever the negative patterns are within your body. So if I have a leaning towards a particular deficiency and a particular excess, for example, if you understand Chinese medical terminology, and I build more Qi, it's just going to reinforce those negative patterns. So then what happens is I'll be able to contact that disease on a deeper and deeper level, but I don't really do anything with it. So then I must do the moving exercise to regulate that energy, or I must be able to mobilize it properly so the body can harmonize and return to a state of health or a state of balance or a state of efficient running. And then I build more Qi and so on and so on. And this is how you do your training. So those people I've known that just do building exercises end up stagnant and sick, generally. So systems that are overly obsessed with fill the body up, fill the body up, fill the body up, more Qi, fill that dantian, and look what happens to the people that are in that tradition. Usually they die quite young. That's usually what happens. They normally die quite young because they just build a massive stagnation within the system and then it kills them. Now, that sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? Remember that most people don't really get to that level of filling. I'm talking about the ones who've mastered the level of filling to a very high level. That's what happens when they get sick. But then I've known people that only do the moving exercises. You know, they go every day and they go through their video sequence and they follow their moving exercises. And yeah, it might be good for the joints if you've got a bit of arthritis, and good for your relaxation and breathing if you're a bit stressed. But they never really go very deep because they don't have anything that builds Qi. So therefore, they're trying to regulate themselves on a very superficial level. And if they could incorporate building exercises, developing of the dantian, which isn't actually that straightforward a thing. If they could develop the dantian and build the qi and increase the volume of energy within the body, then when they do the regulating exercises, it would transform them on a much, much deeper level. But the moving exercises alone are just a little bit empty, in my opinion. This is how, like, this is where, like, I see another confusion as well. Like, any Qigong system, what's an example? Oh, we don't have to name it, let's make one up. So say we have a Qigong exercise right here that is supposed to, it comes from this particular lineage and it's super hidden, super secret, and you learnt it on a weekend course and you learnt the exercise. Okay, so I've seen people do that and then they learn this exercise, and then what happens is they're like, they do it for 2 days and they're like, oh, I got that benefit from it, opened all my chakras or something like that, I don't know. And then you'll see, and then they'll share YouTube videos and they'll be like, look, this is an exercise I learned from this guy. I used to do it years ago, I've done it once now, and then in 6 months' time I'll do it again, and in 3 months' time I'll do it again. And well, basically it's not going to do anything. It just won't. The truth is that that super secret powerful exercise is not much different from your Bob standard sort of Badwan Jin drawing the heavenly bow or whatever, like a very basic Qigong exercise in the majority of cases. It's no different, because if your body doesn't have enough qi within it, then therefore that exercise is not really doing what it's supposed to do to your body. So think of it like this: if I have thin qi, I've got no qi, just normal level, it means that if I do exercise A or exercise B, one moves the arm this way, one uses mudras and magical chanting, what it will do is it will do the same. It will affect my breathing, my diaphragm, loosen the joints, nothing more. There's not much differentiation between those exercises. So it doesn't matter if I go on YouTube and find the super secret one, it's not going to do anything different from the basic one. But if I build a large volume of qi, now all of a sudden those exercises will feel very, very different, because it's the volume of qi that takes your connection to deeper and deeper levels that enables those exercises to start to differentiate from one another. Because the variables in a movement, as in arms going side to side, as opposed to arms going up and down, as opposed to arms going in and out, as opposed to this mudra, as opposed to this mudra, it's, all of those variables are so slight and minute when you're still on the level of materialism, the physical body, that they're almost irrelevant. Whereas if I built a large degree of qi, this volume of energy within my body is thickened and densened and filling me up. Then what happens, even a subtle change like switching between this mudra or this direction of hand movement puts a new variable on the energy that causes it to move in a different manner. So it creates a bigger change. The regulation takes place to a far higher level. So therefore, even differentiation between exercises needs volumes of qi. Otherwise, I've seen people do sets of exercises and they'll do, I don't know, 20 different Qigong movements for beginners. They're all the same. They're not doing anything different. You could argue, not on a deep level, you could argue that one mobilizes the hips more, one mobilizes the shoulder more, one mobilizes the spine more, maybe. But so does any physical stretch, really. But they're not, the actual level of differentiation between them on the inside is minor. One exercise for your liver is not going to be much different from one exercise for your kidneys. If there is not enough qi for your body to have the substance that is adjusted by the Qigong exercise to create the change inside. So simply putting out videos and saying this is a super thing, this is the thing I learned from a Vajrayana guy, this is the thing I learned from a Chan guy, this is the thing I learned from a Taoist guy, none of it makes any difference if the practitioner doesn't have something that builds the volume of qi to create the differentiation between them. So, not really a planned talk, just in answer to queries I'm getting and confusions that I'm seeing and messages that I'm receiving at the moment. It's always funny, isn't it? You get questions, they tend to come in themes. There was a period where everyone was asking about weightlifting. Now everyone's asking about the difference between different Qigong sets. There's themes in questions. I don't know what it is. Collective to consciousness, or maybe one big forum just discussing things online. Who knows? I don't know. But these are the things people are confused by. So I haven't got much time. I'm in a bit of a rush. I've got stuff to do today, so sorry if I'm just sort of speeding through this. But just to summarize it, basically what I'm saying is you need a volume of qi to differentiate the exercises. The more qi you have takes you to deeper and deeper levels of connection inside your body, meaning that those fairly superficial breathing and moving exercises now become something very, very powerful if you have a lot of qi. And the moving exercises that you see, in the majority of cases, don't really build qi. Actually, they regulate whatever qi you have. So you normally need something else, a seated practice or a static practice or a breathwork practice or something to build the volume up And that building of the qi, which is the time-consuming bit, to be honest, goes with the regulatory moving exercises to create the more efficient results. And it's the same with Taiji as well, because even though people don't necessarily see it as the same, Taiji needs qi, Bagua needs qi, Xingyi needs qi. So you must have something that builds it, and doing the form or the swings or whatever you do doesn't build qi. It changes the body, fair enough. It carries out all kinds of other things, but it will only regulate the volume of qi that is there, and it will only regulate on the level according to what qi you have. So many people are trying to do Tai Chi and getting really, getting really into it. You know, there's a lot of drive for it. People have a lot of diligence in their Tai Chi practice. They're committing years to it. They're very passionate about it. But it's never really changing them on a deep level, and it can't change them on a deep level because they don't have qi. They don't have that substance that was really the core of the Chinese arts, because they don't have a practice that builds it. And I'm sorry, but the Tai Chi form is not something that builds it. You need static work. You need standing in a particular way. Just standing with your arms in a circle is not going to do anything. In fact, this circle posture is not actually that useful for a long time. But you need something, a system that trains you to build the qi, or you need a seated practice to build qi. You need something that puts that volume into the body. Because with the internal arts, Qigong, Tai Chi, Bagua, whatever, the postures and the exercises and the movements are to regulate and condition the qi more than anything else. So therefore you have to have some of this substance in order for it to work. So hopefully that answered some of the questions that have been coming through in themes at the moment. I thought I'd collect them all up and answer them together. But this is my view on Qigong practice and the basis of how I teach and the basis of all the people I've studied with that I rate. That's how they teach as well. They understand this process, that it's about building the volume and regulating it. So if you can do that, I think that you'll find your Qigong practice becomes a lot more efficient. You need something that builds and you need something that moves and regulates. Thanks very much.